Listen to the eagle.
Who you got, Jim?
We got Scott on the line. He's over in Louisiana.
Come on, who's it?
What?
Scott? Scott?
In Louisiana?
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
All right, brother.
Look, I own a small deer farm very similar to what this bill is intended to create in Mississippi. I have a 12-acre farm. I have 5 paddocks on those 12 acres in which I raise superior genetic whitetail deer. I make a pretty good living off of raising my deer on just 12 acres. There are a lot of people in Mississippi that have small tracts of land that can afford to put a fence up, or a double fence in this case, and raise these animals and sell them. There is a market out there. Trust me, I can tell you there's a market out there I make a living doing.
Scott, who, if you don't, this is Bert. How are you tonight?
Hey, Bert.
Hey, who do you sell your deer to?
I sell them to several people. There are 3 main markets that I sell to.
Okay.
One is the novelty market, someone who wants a deer, puts up an enclosure and keeps a deer as a pet.
Okay.
I don't generally sell many to those markets, but there are that is a small niche market. The other market is to, and my main market is to breeders. I breed good genetics. I artificially inseminate just like Bill does, and I have good quality genetics that I sell my genetics to other breeders. I also pull the semen off my bucks. I sell that semen and make a pretty good living off of just selling semen off the bucks. Now, they're talking about taking a 300-inch buck and letting somebody shoot him for $40,000. Not mine. I can make that much in 3 years off of semen off of him, so why would I kill my revenue source?
Right.
So all these bucks don't go to shooter preserves. Now, I do have some that do not finish out like I would like them to do. If they're not a 200-inch buck at a year and a half old, I'm going to have to cull them. That's all there is to it. And I have a market for that, and they go to these shooter preserves. Now, most of these preserves are multi-acres, 1,000 acres or better, 500 to 1,000 acres. And most of them, it's not, I wouldn't call it a fair chase hunt, because by definition, fair chase means no fence, I guess. That's what most people think. But I challenge you to find a particular deer in a 500-acre tract hanging out of a tree. It's just as hard as it is on the outside, believe me.
Scott, how long have you been doing this?
About 30 years.
30 years? Well, how long is it? I mean, good night.
Whoa, it ain't been legal 30 years, has it?
I bought my first deer in 1989, so do the math, however many years that is. 32 years, 31 years?
21.
21, I'm sorry. Okay. But I've been in it a long time.
Okay.
And it's a wonderful hobby if you want to call it a hobby, but it's a great business if you want to be in business. If you treat this like a business, care for your animals like they're livestock. My animals are livestock. I have a livestock permit, an alternative livestock permit.
Okay.
They're just like anybody's prize cows or show pigs.
Well, Scott,
I do
thank
the
you.
same way.
Thank you. Thank you,
Scott.
Well, all right, let's.
You know Scott Dodd? No?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
Let me frame it this way, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We'll frame this. I used to have an uncle, your sister's husband, Cobble.
That's right.
He had show bulls.
He did.
He did exactly, almost exactly what Scott was just talking about. It he does with his deer. He did with his bulls.
Made a lot of money.
A lot of money. So basically, he's got livestock. We're just trying to create livestock, a different type of livestock, and make it legal.
Jim says that's wrong. That's ethically wrong. It's not wild, because the whitetail is wild, Jim.
We got 30 seconds.
But is that the problem?
Absolutely.
Because it's wild.
Because it's a wild animal.
And you try,
Wildlife
but is it
resource
making it
belongs to
tame?
the
Is
public.
it making it not wild to do this?
Absolutely, it's making it not wild. It's domesticated.
We got Mike on the line in West.
West. That's just west of east.
Hey, Mike.
Mike.
That is correct. You got to go north and east from Jackson to get to west. Hey, I have 2 questions for your panelists there.
All right.
If you don't mind, Paul.
Go right ahead.
The first question is, and I'll just do both of the questions at once, and then let whoever needs to answer them. The first one is, I heard earlier that a veterinarian of some sort would kind of regulate some of this, and would he be the one who regulates the offspring? And the second question is a farmer. Of course, you know, most of the time when a doe has their yearlings, they usually have one doe and one buck. So these farmers are going to have an excessive amount of does, because I'm sure the market for the bucks are going to be more than the market for the does. So can a farmer slaughter their own animals, and even can they do them out of deer season.
Go ahead.
Well, surprisingly enough, the market is actually for the does. The well-bred bred does bring substantial amounts of money being sold to other breeders. And the question you had about the veterinarian, that's Dr. Jim Watson, who's our state veterinarian. He's head of our Board of Animal Health, who will be in charge of regulating the breeding facilities that will be built. He's got an organization completely set up to already do that, where they regulate exotic wildlife like elk and red deer, fallow deer, that sort of thing.
What about the other question, though? He mentioned, he used the word slaughter. I know deer we talk about culling. So, and could you do that out of season?
I don't believe that issue is really been addressed in the breeding pens. There's really not such thing as a cull, actually. There's always a market for them for breeders that are starting up. I